This session will be recorded and it will be available on our YouTube channel. I'm going to go ahead and drop in our YouTube channel link in the chat feature. Please make sure to subscribe, and that way anytime we have anything new, you'll be advised of that. And it's a great resource. There's a lot of good information there. Today's session is going to be Marketing 101, how to do effective outreach in our industry, ground transportation. We're going to focus on how to market to improve outreach and grow your business. And we will obviously feature details on our GNET Connect platform, which is built to be used as a tool. So I would like to introduce one of our newest members, Mr. Thor Weber. He's our client growth specialist and a valued team member. And today's session is going to be led by Thor. So I will let you take the floor. Thank you, Thor.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Yasmin. Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for taking the time on your busy schedule. I know this is the busy season and we're getting towards the end of the year, so really appreciate it. My goal today is to make this as value-packed as possible for everyone in this call. There might be stuff in here that you already know, that others don't know. My objective is that you go away with 3 new things from this call that you are not aware of before. So let me share my screen here. So today we're going to be talking about GNET Connect, Marketing 101, and especially how to grow your business, strengthen outreach, and how we can leverage GNET Connect to do that specifically. The agenda that we have is first to go over how to position your company, how to attract partners, some quick marketing wins that you can accomplish fairly quickly, how to build solid partnerships, then how we can leverage GNET Connect, and at the end we'll go over an exclusive offer as well. So let's look at the current market reality first, right? So what we are seeing is that there's more operators entering the mobility space, and differentiation is starting to become crucial for survival. Okay, so what this means is that clients are facing an overwhelming array of options and making the decision-making a lot more complex for them, right? And so what we're seeing right now on the marketplace is that the operators often use very similar language in their different marketing opportunities, right? And so we have different websites from different providers, and still the messaging comes across as fairly similar from company to company. This is making it difficult for operators to stand out. The second trend that we are seeing is AI-driven discovery. This is a brand new trend. We'll go in quite a lot into detail on what that means specifically for marketing purposes on this call. But one thing that we can just accept as a fact is that marketing is becoming essential, right? So there is no way to avoid it. Marketing is just one of those things that we now need to do. And so we're going to cover over how we can accomplish that, how we can build out some marketing stuff, and make that available and differentiate ourselves from the rest of the competition. So let's take first a look at positioning. How do we position your company? It's a crowded marketplace, so we want to make sure that we really define our positioning. And positioning, just to give a brief overview, is why a client would choose you over another operator, right? And so what we want to do is we really want to define that message as clearly as possible. Clients choose operators who articulate their value and proposition simple and directly, right? And here, a lot of times as well, specialization really matters. Specialization is important. And focused expertise in a specific area often outperforms a broad, generic kind of overview of services. So let's identify what that specialization of yours is. These could be things like, hey, I am really good in terms of identifying, doing corporate transport or special events transport. The point is, identify what your specialization is and then really focus it. Now, from a business standpoint, and you guys obviously understand this already, but I'm just going to outline it anyways. So within a business approach, we would go and look at, okay, what are the different services that we provide? What is the area where we have the highest margin? And then how can we specifically focus on specializing at least our marketing message on that one area, right? Because we really want to drive traffic towards the service that we can provide, that provides the consumer with a great service, but also provides us with the highest margin in return. And then the consistency wins, right? Whoever can formulate that message, get the right specialization in place, and then consistently communicate that message across to their customers at the end of the day is going to become the established player within that specialization in the field. And so that's really one of the things that we want to push for. And also, the more we go for a consistent message, the more that builds trust with the rest of the community. So it's kind of 3 positioning levers that we can pull. The first one is the niche expertise. Again, define your specialization clearly. Then we have the signature strengths, so identifying what quantifiable advantages you have. This can be like specific metrics. So we're talking about reliability metrics, premium fleet, quality, industry-leading response time, or safety records. Something that you really can showcase and quantify to the consumer, really appealing again to that kind of the logos path of the decision-making process. Then we have the customer experience. So you want to distinguish yourself through communication style and technology-enabled services and the complete client journey you deliver from A to B, right, all the way through. Now, one thing that I really like to do is to identify the positioning formula, right? So when you look at, okay, how can we identify what our positioning should be? Let's just take this simple example here where we go, we help your client type achieve desired outcome through, and then your unique strength. This is a nice formula that we can apply not just in one setting, but actually in multiple settings. So while you want to focus in on your specialization, one of the things that oftentimes becomes a bit tricky is that we have websites that are really overblown with, here's all the different types of services that we facilitate. And then for a corporate person that comes along and finds your website, they're just kind of overwhelmed with all of these things. What if we could segment your website into specific subsections where it's like, hey, I'm specifically a client that's looking for corporate travel. And then you have a site that is just focused on that. And it's specifically focused around, we help this corporate travel client achieve this desired outcome through our unique strength. So you can segment it into the specific client types that you want to attract. And so one of the things that we have here is just a quick example for how something like this looks. So let's take a look at the corporate focus example. We help corporate travel teams move reliably with a guaranteed 12-minute response window and real-time flight tracking integration. So what we've done here is we have said, okay, who's our client type? Well, it's the corporate travel teams. What's the desired outcome? Well, we want to move executives reliably, and we want to guarantee a 12-minute response window. Okay, that's a desired outcome that the client wants. And then what's our unique strength? We provide real-time tracking integration. So now, just within that one quick sentence, you have identified who your client type is, the desired outcome that they want, and the unique strength that you provide them by offering the services that you do. So I'd encourage everyone to kind of do this exercise as one of the things to really figure out your positioning formula. Now let's look at some outreach strategies, right? Effective outreach is one of the most key elements that we're seeing. It's not just relevant to this industry. We've seen it across different types of industries. And it's one of those things that can always be improved on. And there's just some standard things that we should really keep in mind. The first thing is clear communication, predictability, so reliable and consistent service, professionalism, and speed. Just some core pillars for both priority groups that we're going to go into. And actually, the outreach part is fairly similar for affiliate partners as well as corporate clients. But let's look at both. So let's look at the affiliate outreach framework. First, you want to personalize your introduction, right? So all too often, we see these kind of generic messages. We really want to avoid those. We want to really personalize our introduction, research each prospect, and craft a tailored message that demonstrates that you understand the specifics of the customer's needs. Then you want to demonstrate your strength, right? You want to really showcase your reliability metrics. Again, let's go back to what we just did, the exercise, the positioning formula. What are your strengths? What are the metrics that you can show up and position to those directly to the personalized introduction? So you figure out what the customer wants, you adjust your demonstrated strength and focus them on them. And then you want, obviously, frictionless communication, so make it effortless for the prospects to engage, clear next steps, simple process, responsive follow-through, and then strategic follow-up. And I want to really stop on strategic follow-up because it's one of those things that we see so often where, okay, you are trying to engage a corporate client, you send them this amazing personalized introduction where you demonstrate your strength and you are really great in your communication, you have some very clear next steps, but then nothing happens. And so what we really want to do is focus in on that strategic follow-up bracket. All too often it happens that people send one email and then nothing else. Okay. What we really want to make sure is that we set up a follow-up system and that this follow-up system has pre-planned emails that execute in a pre-regulated kind of framework. So you say, okay, first email didn't go through. Okay, let's do day 3 email. Then let's do a day 7 email. Then let's do a day 14 email. Then let's do a day 30 email. Now, the challenge with this is how can we be persistent without being pushy, right? We don't want to be like, hey, just following up, hey, circling back. We want to really provide value to the customer while we are still doing the follow-up. And so these kind of 4 or 5 emails here, these are emails that I think we should spend quite a lot of time on, right? This is the type of email where that is ignored by most, but really where a lot of the sales closing comes from, right? It's all too often that I have, for example, made a purchase decision on email 7, or that I have just had at the top of my mind the kind of emails that have been coming through. And so therefore, when I then am in a position to make the decision, because I've been getting consistent emails from some provider, I know that they're coming through. I also want to outline quickly that email is still one of the strongest marketing tools out there that you can use, specifically because you own your customer base. If you go through, let's say, social media outlets or LinkedIn or Facebook or advertising flyers, you don't have the direct communication with your customer. The only true direct communication with your customer that you're fully in charge of is oftentimes email. And then once we're done with the kind of strategic follow-up, we want to also send them into long-term nurturing, right? So we want to make sure that even if they don't follow after the 7th email, if they're not closed then, let's put them on a list where just once a month they keep hearing about your company. And these are just company updates, right? So it's like, hey, we acquired a new vehicle. Hey, check out this article. Hey, here's a little snippet about how we do our detailing, right? So it's just little things to keep them warm so that when the time for a decision comes, they are ready to make it. And honestly, this is not too different from the corporate outreach framework. For the corporate outreach framework, we just want to optimize a few more things. So for example, a LinkedIn profile, kind of super crucial. We want to really highlight some case studies and some metrics. We want to offer small test opportunities. This is a really cool one because it allows corporate clients to come in and be like, okay, yeah, I'll give it a shot. There's really a low barrier to entry, and that means that they can test it with you. There's really no way for them to say no. And then you can just show them the amazing service that you provide, and then it becomes a no-brainer for them to stay on board, right? But it's really lowering the threshold for getting them into the door. Once they're in, then you can start scaling up things and really just with the service that you're already providing, locking them in. We also want to make sure through a corporate outreach framework that we target the right decision makers, right? So this, as we know, sometimes this has to go through a few levels of decision making, and LinkedIn is one of those platforms where we can very quickly find the right titles that are associated, for example, with the right decision makers. We will get back into this targeting the right decision makers briefly, because what we're actually now seeing is that they are the more and more travel managers we are onboarding for GNET Connect, the more they're using GNET Connect as well to search for companies. But we'll get into that a little bit later. And then again, the consistent follow-up. It's not pushy, it is not annoying, it's just provide them an update and really craft those 5 to 7 follow-up emails so that you make sure you provide a high-value email, but that still keeps them on top of mind and has an option to just sign up with you right away in each email. A quick thing of what not to do, what we see way too much in the space, is mass spam. We don't want to just mass spam emails to a bunch of email lists that we have received. We want to avoid generic outreach. Let's not lead with price, right? Let's start the conversation, and then we can kind of go into the cost aspect later. Slow responses. This is a super common error within sales. Most people, when they get an inquiry, you need to be aware of that when you receive an email, most likely it is not just you that receives that email, but it's you and 5 other competitors, because most people, especially the corporate clients, they're quoting, right? So they want to get quotes as well. And so then one of the things that matters to them is as well the response time to receiving that email, because that is kind of indicative to them, at least, how your response time during the service is going to be. And so let's make sure that we're fast. And then also with the communication, let's be clear. None of this vague stuff, just clear communication that keeps everyone aligned. All right, so let's look at some easy marketing wins and some practical tactics here. Number one thing, improve your digital storefront, okay? So website messaging is just absolutely crucial. We want to ensure the copy speaks directly to your clientele and highlights the premium service, punctuality, and discretion. These are just key things. Then we also want to optimize our Google business profile. If you don't have one, set one up. It has become super crucial, and we want to really engage people as well to engage with the Google business profile. There's a few things why this is useful, but one of them is SEO, which we'll go into a little bit later. But also, it builds a lot of trust, right? If you see the 5-star Google rating and you can read all the reviews, you can read all the testimonials, well, you might trust that operator a little bit more than the one that does not have a good business profile. And then high-quality fleet photography. I just want to say this once. You guys spend so much money on these fantastic vehicles, but then let's also spend a little bit of money so that we get some high-quality video assets that we can then post everywhere, right? This is the customer, when they make their decision, they don't actually see your real vehicles. They see the digital version of your vehicles. They see the photography of the vehicle. So we want to make sure that what we use to represent our fleet is done in a high-end style and looks nice and representable. So let's invest a little bit into this area as well. And then some clearer call to action buttons. And this is super simple. By the way, one more thing that I just have to throw in here. Let's make sure that the emails and the phone numbers on our websites are actually working. All too often you come across it still where the email is not working or the phone number is not working. So let's make sure that those are all aligned perfectly. And then let's look at some trust signals, right? Trust is one of those things that is absolutely crucial. We want to establish trust. This is the thing that not only allows us to close clients, build clients, have a good reputation, but also to get referrals. And we all know that a good referral business is crucial for a long-term success of any business. So customer reviews, detailed testimonials, specific stories, that's fantastic. Certifications and licenses, this becomes especially important in platforms like GNET Connect, because it makes you immediately discoverable. Like, oh, wow, here's all my certifications, here's all my licenses. That's a partner that I can trust with. So when somebody goes on GNET Connect and they search for a travel partner in a specific market, they see the certifications, they see the licenses, they're like, okay, boom, there we go. This is all good to go. Response time guarantees. We all know that people love that, but this is something that helps a lot if we can provide it. And then obviously direct presentation standards. Okay, let's look at some simple social media ideas. I know for a lot of you, it's like, okay, social media, I don't want to deal with it, but it is crucial. It is becoming a bigger part of the marketing umbrella. And so I want to outline just a few things that are actually easier than you might think and build that trust, build that visibility with the client. And that might not actually be as complicated as we sometimes imagine it to be. So just some basic behind the scenes stuff, right? Show the vehicle preparation, show the detailing process, and the care that goes into every journey, right? These are important things because they kind of build the trust via transparency. And that's what we want, right? We want our customers to understand, oh, wow, this is all the care and love that we already put into the vehicles. Let's now just make that visible to the public. You could do something like a tip of the day where you share some highlights from a recent booking. This could even be something where, just get one of the other drivers to drive behind you and film that trip. And you can summarize it and you can show, of course, you need the client's permission for that. But it's a really nice thing that showcases for social media how a VIP service that you are providing could look and could feel. We always actually want to lean into the feel element when we're doing these types of social media ideas. We have some fleet highlights to feature individual vehicles with the detailed specifications. Again, I went to the CDNLA show in Dallas, and I went across the show floor, and it was amazing to see all these fantastic vehicles there. And for somebody that's maybe not as in the industry as you guys are, they might not understand what all the differences are. And so highlight why your vehicles are specifically good, what parts about your vehicles are specifically good, what features or why you chose this vehicle over the other vehicle, right? These are things that are interesting to somebody who is new or trying to look for a ground transportation company. Then we have some client FAQs. This is like one of the biggest gold mines that is untouched so far. So when you create a client FAQ, so FAQ is frequently asked questions, essentially you ask you and your team, every time a client has a question, write it down. And then you compile that into one big list. And then you see, okay, these questions basically are asking the same thing. And then you formulate a nice answer for that one question. But you do that for all the questions. So at some point, you should have like 20, 30 questions, FAQs. And you should then list them on your website and have them sitting there. Why are FAQs important? We'll get back to that in a little bit when we start talking about SEO optimization. And then we have safety and reliability tips, another great way to share some insights on vehicle maintenance, driver training, what makes truly professional transportation service. Again, let them in behind the scenes, let them see what's going on. That allows you to put yourself into a nice light and makes for some very easy content with assets that you already have, right? Like you have this fantastic fleet and these amazing drivers. Let's showcase them. Okay, so then we have communication, strength, and building partnerships. We all know that long-term success in the luxury transportation comes from understanding the client, comes from building long-term partnerships and delivering on promises on an ongoing basis. What do clients most care about? Speed, transparency, reliability, professionalism, and zero surprise communication. Are these things that we can accomplish? I think very much so. And we're seeing it even with new entrants into the market, that speed is becoming one of the more crucial elements. So the faster we can get, for example, a quote to the customer, the better. And how we can communicate that across these different tools in the marketplace that are being played with around now. Just let's keep that in mind. I think speed, transparency, reliability, professionalism, zero surprise communication, some core pillars of how we service a client with things that really matters to them. Long-term partnership building means we want to provide updates. We want to share service enhancements, new vehicles, expanded coverage areas before clients need to ask, right? We want to do quarterly check-ins, schedule those check-ins. Again, this is building the trust, building the partnership. It takes a bit of work, but the beauty of building partnerships and building these long-term types of connections is that not only do you keep a client, make a client happy, but also you will get referrals from this, right? So the guy at Corporation A that's in charge of transportation, you bet that he talks to the guy in charge of transportation at Corporation B. So that referral can happen just by keeping your clients happy. And it's funny, but sometimes it's the really small stuff that really matters, right? So small gestures here and there, little tips, little tricks, that really helps. And so now let's get into the big deal, okay? SEO versus AEO versus GEO. Most of you have probably heard about SEO. Some of you might have heard about AEO and GEO, but let's really take a deep dive into what this means, right? Because the landscape of online visibility is really shifting, and it's shifting fast right now, and that provides a massive opportunity for operators that understand this early on, okay? So just quickly, let's define what the three are. SEO, search engine optimization, Okay, this is your traditional approach. This is how you optimize a website, content, structure, backlinks. You want to rank high in Google. This is what you use, SEO. Then we have AEO. So this is an answer engine optimization. This is voice and AI focused, structuring content to provide direct, concise awareness for voice assistants and AI-powered search tools. Okay, so think your ChatGPT search. Then you have the GEO. So this is generative engine optimization. And this is a future forward strategy. So ensuring that your business appears in AI-generated summaries and recommendations from ChatGPT, Gemini, and similar platforms. Let's take a little bit of a deeper look here. So we kind of know what it is already, right? So we have the optimizing web pages to rank by Google for the SEO. For the AEO, we optimize the content to directly answer Google searches and voice queries, right? So this is the ChatGPT one. Let's jump into the AEO, the answer engine optimization. How does this work? Well, you create content that directly answers questions. This is why the FAQ part is super important for AEO, right? If you have a big AEO and schemas for structured data, then in the AEO pool, they can pull upon that data from the answer engine optimization. And then for the GEO, we have authoritative and factual content, citation and links, and to build trustworthy, credible content AI models that can refer and cite using scheme and formatting AI can parse easily. Okay, so we want to optimize the layout so that the schema can be parsed by the AI very easily so that we can extract that data. There's some different use cases here. We don't have to go into super much detail, but there's some pros and some pros and some cons with each of them. One of the things that we should outline for SEO, which is why a lot of people avoid it, is that it takes a lot of time, right? You can't just publish 10,000 articles and then expect your SEO to go up. This will be flagged by Google, and immediately you will get dogged for it, right? So you will receive lower listing and kind of get shadow banned from Google because they don't want you to abuse the system. So you have to consistently over time build articles, build professional relationships with newspapers and reliable organizations, and then make sure that they backlink you or to your website. So therefore, you get a higher SEO ranking than hopefully when somebody searches for a ground transportation market. Again, this is why it really helps when you specialize in on one need for online marketing, because then when somebody searches in that specific niche, you are able to rank a lot higher than if you would otherwise. For the AEO part, some of the cons are that it's a bit of a newer field, so it's less data availability, but we have a nice way of solving that. And then the same thing for the GEO. It's hard to measure, right? These are new things. We don't really know yet how to measure them in terms of how we can actually understand how many people are using ChatGPT to look up ground transportation companies versus how many people are still using Google to find ground transportation companies. And how many of them are asking for, like, hey, give me an overview of the top 10 ground transportation companies in this specific market and elaborate the pros and cons of each one of the companies. So let's look at the important part, right? How do we rank higher with each one of these three categories? Let's look at SEO first. We kind of mentioned it already. You want to publish frequently, high quality content. You want to build authoritative backlinks, refresh the content quarterly, improve technical site performance, and conduct technical audits, so sitemaps and site structure. Then for the AEO part, you want to answer questions directly and clearly. Again, this is the FAQ section, right? Optimize for people also ask topics and use structured data markup. And then we want to, for the GEO, we want to create authoritative, well-researched content, build citation, mentions, and testimonials, super key, and optimize content structure for AI parsing. We also want to use super clear headlines, tables, and lists for easy AI comprehension, okay? These are kind of some of the things that are working in the back end that allow you to rank higher for AEO and GEO. Now, the one thing that I want everyone to take away from this section here, I know it's a little technical, but the one thing I really want everyone to understand is this slide here, and specifically the slide here at the bottom. SEO gets you found, AEO gets you quoted, and GEO gets you recommended, okay? Those are the 3 different sections and the 3 different ways that you can optimize your content, your website, your data, and your layout of your data so that it can appear higher in all of those 3 categories. Okay, so why is GEO a massive opportunity, right? This whole landscape is brand new, and there's an explosive search. I cannot express this enough. There's such a huge increase in AI-driven search. It's a real competitor to Google now, because people are not Googling anymore. They're using ChatGPT to ask these types of questions, right? But that means that we need to then optimize our content for how these AI agents that go out and pull in the content, for how they are doing that. And so how do we optimize our content specifically that these AI agents can grab it? That sounds a bit complicated, but it's a completely untapped market, right? And if we are able, as ground transportation operators, to optimize for this, this will give us an immediately advantage for discoverability and being found by people that are actively looking for ground transportation providers. And because you are now in this session here and you're hearing about it early on, it allows you to kind of be one of those first people that really optimizes for that. Now, the beautiful thing about this is that we have optimized GNET Connect entirely to automatically structure your profile data in such a way that it can be found by GEO and AEO search queries, right? So that's one of the beautiful benefits. And I want to go into a bit of detail here because I don't usually get the opportunity to really elaborate the detail on why these sections matter. But one of the beautiful things about GNET Connect is that we are able to already take all the data that you have. All you need to do is fill out your GNET profile, and it pulls in the data. Now, before that, there's one thing that we should mention. As you guys are familiar, there is the old GNET portal. The GNET portal is now migrating, which means that the login that you used for the old GNET portal is now becoming the new GNET Connect portal. You can use the exact same login that you used for the old GNET portal for the new GNET portal, and all the functionality that was on the old GNET portal is now also on the new GNET portal, entirely for free, no strings attached. It's the exact same service. But if you choose to also engage the additional marketing services that we can provide through GNET Connect, then there's upgrades that we can offer to you. But just so we're super clear, old portal closing down, exact same functionality, exact same login and everything, just now via GNET Connect. Okay, yeah, that's this slide here, essentially. Okay, so let's really look at how GNET is tied into your marketing and what we can do in terms of your marketing. So the first thing is enhanced market visibility, right? You want to allow operators and transportation companies and distributors to find you easily in one marketplace. And that is what GNET Connect was built for. It is for the exchange of the ground transportation industry to find each other. And so what we have built here is a kind of like a LinkedIn for ground transportation. And really, people are starting to use it to say, hey, my company is here in Los Angeles, and I have a client that I'm sending to the airport in LAX. But then that client, I know he's landing in Boston. Let me see if I can find a partner that I can then pass that customer to that can then facilitate the ride in Boston from the airport to the office and from the office back to the airport. And then when the client lands in LA, I can facilitate this whole service, right? How do I find this partner? Well, we have built this platform. It's called GNET Connect, and it allows you to look at different profiles from different people and really understand, okay, what is their fleet? What is the services that they provide? What is like their history? What's their specialization? What are the different elements of that specific provider that I'm looking for? And even upload documents, right? So on this platform, we can upload all kinds of documents that allow you to understand, here's the business license, here's the insurance. Okay, we're all set. All in one platform, nice and clean. Okay, well, it's connected to a network of affiliate and partners. And again, as I mentioned already earlier, it's a GEO optimized profile, meaning it is future-proof, right? This is one of the big things. Not only are you going to find leads within GNET Connect and be discovered through GNET Connect by filling out your profile, getting on these proper accounts. So the GEO starts from the premium account up to the enterprise account. But the point is, when you fill in your information there, the search engines, the AI engines, and the AI agents that go through your profile on GNET Connect, which they do constantly, we can see that on the back end actually, how often it's getting hit by AI agents, can extract the data from your profile and present it to the customer. So if I'm sitting here and I'm searching for something in ChatGPT, and it says, okay, what is the right transportation company in LAX for a ride to LAX? It will then pull out some of the top companies, and ChatGPT hits our servers quite a lot to figure out what that right company is. So that's a really nice benefit that you get from updating your profile, optimizing your profiles on there. You have a modern area service display, so sophisticated geographical presentation tools, and then comprehensive strength showcasing, right? So you can have a nice way to show the quality of your fleet to the right players in the market, right? This is one of those other things that's key. We want to be able to provide high quality images and overviews of the services in the fleet that we provide. So think about GNET Connect at the baseline. It does exactly the same thing as the old GNET portal, entirely for free. But if you want to upgrade it, then there's the it becomes a massive marketing asset for you. Okay, so in terms of activating GNET Connect as your marketing engine, here's a few steps. Customize your profile, build a visual fleet showcase, highlight operational strengths, and then engage in the global network and optimize for discovery. So we want to, again, optimize that profiles can be found, how they can be found. This is all done within GNET Connect, where we add all the different information about the different tasks, the fleets, the services that we want to do. All right, so I know we covered a lot here, and we have about, I want to leave a little section alive for a Q&A, but before that, let's do a quick recap. There's some homework. So let's do this as a quick action plan for the week. Clarify your positioning, enhance your outreach quality, right? Review and refine your client communication approach, and really like define that process. Then let's refresh the digital presence, okay? Let's make sure we have a website that clearly communicates what we does, that everything links and works, that the emails, the phone numbers, all of that, the social profiles, that they help. Again, social media as well. It's easier than you think. Just create some content, put it out there. You already have this amazing assets that you can use for that. Let's strengthen your communication habits. So implement some systematic follow-up processes. Let's optimize the GNET profile, and then prepare for GEO discovery. And yeah, let's implement some quick marketing wins so that we can identify and execute some low effort, high impact marketing activities that can generate immediate results. I think we have a nice little to-do list here. And for anyone that still stayed through, we have a little surprise offer at the very end here. We have two plans that are optimized for the GEO part within GNET Connect. That's the premium and the enterprise plan. If you email me this subject line, VIP marketing, the first 10 people that do that will get 30% off for 3 months on both the premium and the enterprise plan. And I hope that will really show you guys the value that we provide. It's already at a great deal, but just for staying with me on this call here, wanted to make sure that everyone gets a nice little deal out of it. So make sure that you do this. Email me. I will copy this as well and put it into the chat. But thank you so much. I hope there was at least a little bit of value. I hope you found 1 or 2 things in here that you can take away. And with that, I will hand it back to Yasmin.
Thank you so much, Thor. That was amazing. So much information. Well done. It looks like everybody's enjoyed the presentation. I'm seeing lots of thumbs up and whatnot. Someone just raised a hand and it went down. Who? Oh, it was Reza. And okay, no problem. Okay. So we're open for questions. Does anyone have a question, a comment, need any assistance with any of this? And Thor, do put your email, please. Okay, Paul from Legends, go ahead. Unmute.
Hey, Thor, that was great stuff, man. Thank you so much. What's your kind of thought on how AI is either helping our industry or hurting it? From a marketing standpoint, where now AI can do wonders, where you can turn a vehicle and place it anywhere in the world, dock it up however you want it. What's your thought on that? And should companies really kind of lean on AI, or should they really kind of go with still the human factor on especially marketing?
It's a really good question. So there's kind of two things that come to mind when you are asking about how to utilize AI. The first thing is that how do we incorporate AI, right? So one of the things that you brought up there is utilizing it in image creations, and for example, saying putting your limousine in like a cool desert or forest environment, and making sure that that is nice and visually appealing. There is some pros with that, which is obviously that immediately it's visually very nice, right? The cons is that a lot of people can do it, and you might not actually have that type of fleet or that type of service that can facilitate the services that you are offering, right? So there's a bit of a downside there. Now, what I would encourage everyone to do is to actually go, and if you are the operator that has an amazing fleet and that actually is out there and provides these services and is not faking it, make that clear. Create a video, right? And showcase that, hey, this is my fleet. Here are the vehicles that I have. Here are my drivers, right? We provide this high-end service, and I am not joking. This is not AI stuff. I actually have this fleet. It is right here. You can talk to them. You can engage with them. And that allows you to really build that trust again. And that trust aspect is something that I think will become more important than anything in this world of AI, right? Is how can we actually present to the customer a super trustworthy impression, that actually reflects our service, right? And one of the easiest ways that you can currently do that is with just a video asset.
Thank you so much, Thor. Kanetra, I'm going to answer your question in the chat in just one moment. But what I wanted to also say is, when you are trying to establish trust, you have to be very careful. You can't use the image of some amazing vehicle and then the client uses you and they show up and your, a subpar vehicle shows up that isn't, that's where trust is built. So say what you mean and mean what you say. So be very careful not to over enhance anything that that won't live up to your expectations or your client's expectations. That's really important. Having said that, I think it's Paula who's here. Please go ahead with your question. Unmute. Waiting for Chicago Coach Works to unmute and ask their question.
I think she's trying to locate the unmute, which is on bottom left. There is
bottom left of the screen. It looks like a tulip. Paula, I wish I could unmute.
Can I ask a question while we're waiting for Paula? So
yes, go ahead.
The question is that, let's say for small operators, which they don't have a budget or they don't have know-how of marketing, how GNET, which is a technology company, can help them to get started at least? What are some thoughts and then steps that we help small operators or even independent operators to get started?
Yeah, I mean, one of the big benefits of GNET is that we've created this nice profile where you can just immediately showcase your fleet. You can showcase your services. You can actually technically use GNET as your homepage without even having to have an additional homepage, because all the information that is important to your business can already be provided there. And that allows you to then become discoverable by distributors in the market, by ground transportation companies, by other transportation providers like the TMCs. And so that's one of the quick ways that you can utilize GNET Connect to get an immediate presence out.
Thank you. I see that Chicago has unmuted.
I found the damn button.
Hi, Paula.
You know, don't tell anybody I was an IT manager, will you? Because they would be like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" No, it's more of a comment than anything. The timing of this couldn't be better because we're in the middle of a major project where we're acquiring quite a few clients, and we're in the middle of redoing our website and putting our heads down and trying to figure out what's the best way to attract these clients. They're very old school. They email us their trips. It is insane, and so we're all losing our minds here slowly. But what I wanted to ask is, we're considering as we redesign our website to build a blog, and we've been told that if we tap into some of the text that is in fact embedded in the website and loop it into a particular article, like let's say we're talking about the best restaurants in downtown Chicago or something like that, that could raise our SEO organically. So I'm hoping that's what it'll do, because we're watching our budget for sure, but also we want to do things where there'll still be a level of interest where someone might say, hey, you know, what's going on in Chicago this week? And they can click there. And along with the fact that we've got detail in the actual site itself. I hope I said it right, because this is a language I'm not the best at. But what are your thoughts on that? Is it a good effort to put, a little bit of time into these messages?
Absolutely. So I think there's nothing wrong at all with optimizing for SEO, right? So what you're doing is you're creating articles that essentially associate you with a specific service or a specific keyword, and that means when somebody is then searching for that specific keyword, there's a chance that you come up. Now, the SEO strategy is one that is good. It's important, requires a lot of time and consistency, right? So don't get discouraged if after a month of posting 3-4 articles a week, you don't show up at the top #1 search for the keywords that you're trying to optimize yet, right? This really does take several months of time of consistently posting if you want to pursue that strategy to really start ranking at a high level. In terms of AEO and GEO, the easiest thing that you can do is analyze how your data is structured on the website. This might be a little bit more difficult, but for the bare minimum, fill out your GNET profile, because it is structured already in such a way that the agents can go across it and find exactly the information that is out there about you, and then they can pull it from there and put it into the chat outputs. So just make sure that those are kind of the two things that you do, and then I think there's some validity in what you're doing.
Okay, I'm excited. I'm nervous, but I'm excited. Thank you so much for the presentation.
You'll do great,
today.
Polish.
Yeah.
Thank you for participating. Razor Chaudhry.
Yes. For absolutely great presentation, I must admit. You're absolutely right about SEO, AEO, and GEO. We're actually utilizing that right now, because from the beginning of the year, we had to relearn everything. That's what happened to us. It does take time. It's not a short win. You've got to be in the long haul game. This is what this is. And we are seeing results. And we started in January. We restructured our website. We've asked the team to relearn. Some people went on AI courses. GNET Connect came at the right time for us when we put our profile up very, very quickly. And it is structured with FAQs. We've had to create multiple landing pages to hit our website, not to just generate traffic, but to have the right content to talk about something. A person at Chicago Coach that mentioned blogging. Do the blogging, guys. Blogging is the most powerful tool for your website, and you have to be consistent. You have to post at least 2 to 3 times a week and be consistent. You won't see results, and it was me as well. Where's the results? Where's the results? But we waited 3 months, 6 months. Now we're seeing a huge amount of traffic coming into our website. CTA buttons that need to be done correctly, people to find you. Everything that was on your presentation, it's a roadmap, it's a strategy. Even if you follow 10, 15% of that and if you're patient, you will see results. It's like what you said about the vehicle inventory. We buy cars, we hold them for 2 to 3 years. Now, if we can hold our cars for 2 to 3 years, the amount of maintenance that we do on our vehicles, it should be done on our same thing with our marketing and our website. It's the same sort of strategy, same sort of process. I think travel managers that I speak to, it is a long haul game because you have to create trust. And trust is something we don't have time for. So all of us know, and we're all business owners, to speak to a travel manager, they sit in their positions 10, 15 years. They're not just going to switch and find you online and think, yeah, we're going to work with Legends or we're going to work with Chicago. They want to know you first. So even as much as you do your websites, go into your LinkedIn accounts. You know, I've had to revamp my LinkedIn account, just like the SEO platform that you would do with your website. I'm posting every day. And I'm thinking, why are these travel managers not talking to me? Because they don't know who I am. Who's this guy from London posting every day? Who's this guy from Chicago, New York posting every day? And you're just waiting for that catch. You know, it's like throwing the fish hook out in the pond and you're waiting for the bite, right? You get the small fish bite and then you're hoping that the big one bites. But it doesn't happen that way. It really doesn't, right? They just want to know that you're consistent. They trust you. But you know what? I'm going to give them a shot. Someone in New York's let me down. Who do I go to? Now,
You go to Legends. I'm kidding.
no. But, and there are multiple companies that are on GNET. How does a travel manager or an EA or a PA book in New York, for example, and you got hundreds of people on GNET? Reza mentioned it before. If your GNET Connect profile is set up the way it should be, they will go to you. When the minute they look at your profile, you're the shop window. If they like your shop window, they're going to be intrigued. They want to buy from you. So I've made it a thing that I'm going to make sure my GNET Connect for London is the best one. And when they go to, when a travel manager finds me in GNET, they think, you know, they're professional. It looks professional. It's clean. So if your shop window is the first image, that's how they look at your business. If your cars are super clean, they don't know that. They don't see it because that's back office. So get it into the front of the office. Just use the analogy of what you do with your vehicles. Look,
Right.
at the end of the day, travel managers don't care what we do or what we look like, right? But when we do present and we're in front of them, we go in a shirt and a tie, clean, booted, suited, male or women, and we were presented. So
Yes.
I think everything that Thor mentioned, I think there's your roadmap. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's so structured. Follow some of it, and you will see the win. But you just have to be patient.
Thank you, Reza.
And
I
one
just
more-
wanted to mention, sorry, real quickly, that Reza Shabazi just put your Connect profile in the chat feature. So everyone who's watching, if you want to see what Reza's high ride profile looks like for London, click on that and you'll get to see a fully executed Connect profile, which would be very helpful.
I just wanted to ask for one more question. The data analytics that I'm hoping that you're producing, if someone is coming in for GNET Connect and the traffic that is coming in for your GNET side, how do you measure the traffic that is coming in and they're finding us as a supplier to work with? How do you measure that? Do you have a dashboard or something that we could look at, or do you have some sort of tangible data that we can work on?
Yeah,
I think
absolutely. I think
Reza
that's great for
Shabazi.
Reza. Yeah, for Reza.
Yeah, let me quickly answer that. Yes, we have a dashboard. You can track the visitors and each page saying, hey, my profile page, how many. We also track, if you have Google Analytics, get your ID, paste it on we have a section, then all the visits, we can also send it to Google Analytics. So not also from our dashboard, from also Google Analytics, you can track all the visits, all the tracks. You can do it on your Google Analytics campaign too.
Oh, perfect. Okay, that makes sense.
Thank
Cool.
you. Thank you so much for the input and the questions, Reza. Really good to see you. We're running out of time. I have 2 more questions with hands raised. So let's go to, I think Paul was first and then it's Michael. So go ahead, Paul.
Just very quick, Reza. Great points. I was going to ask, is there any way for you guys to get Thor back to do just a session on SEO versus GEO versus AEO? I think that can be such a great session, and Thor is great. I mean, I'm sorry, hands down, this was one of my favorite sessions ever.
Yay! Absolutely, we're happy to do that. Thank you. Reza, yes, Marketing 102. Paul, good suggestion. We'll take you up on that. We're always open to any suggestions that you guys have. So yes, absolutely. Thank you. Michael, go ahead, unmute yourself and ask away. Bottom of your, there we go.
Okay. Well, first of all, Thor, great job. And Yasmin, thank you all for putting this all together. It's been wonderful and very educational as well. Now, I am new to this whole GNET Connect because my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, it's actually the old version is getting chopped by the end of this year. Is that correct? So
Yes.
what's going to happen with people that, because obviously people are going to question this, what's going to happen with everybody that's on the previous, and how is the transition going to run smoothly? And as far as payments concerned, how is that going to interject or
So
intertwine?
first of all, before I hand this, I think it's a good question for Reza Shabazi to answer. So the old portal, basically the new GNET Connect Basic, which is free, just like the old one, it does so much more, but it's still free. So, you know, unless you decide to go onto a paid plan, there is no difference there. But on the technical side, I'll have Reza Shabazi answer your question.
Yeah, basically, as has been mentioned, that all the functionality we have on old portal, we're going to carry over for the same. Finding partners, sending partnership requests, finding my reservation, they're still free. The new feature we added, such as document management, you know, advanced SEO, like all things that Thor was talking, those are fall into some tiers. We can discuss all the like paid tiers, but don't worry, if you want to like keep it as a basic, you can do it. But if you want to enhance your profiles, all nitty-gritty that Thor mentioned, then we have a paid plans.
So that's great, because I actually did go into the pay plan. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think I'm premium or something to that effect. But like I said, I'm new at this. I'm just setting it up. Sharam in the past has been great with my problems, but now setting this up, I think Thor might be able to educate me more on the back end of getting this all set up and making sure I'm on the right line here.
Sure. Michael, why don't you go ahead and Thor put his email into the chat feature. If you can extract his email, send him an email and make an appointment with him. He'll be happy to walk you through it.
Perfect.
And then Reza,
Absolutely.
one other question again, because I'm so not technical myself either. So if you're on the old, GNET portal, and how do you move to the new one? Are you already on the new one if you're on the old
Yeah,
one?
you already a new one. You log in.
Same user, you just same username, password, and you're just on the new one. So basically that's okay. That's really
So
important.
does that mean it's still going to, every time you connect, it's still going to take the same amount of money out, even though you're on the free plan, or is that just free and it's not charging you any?
If you're on the
per use?
basic, it's free. Basic plan is free. Basic GNET Connect is free, and then there's 3 levels of paid. It starts at, I think, what is it, $29.95?
Yeah, those are for $20.99. It's called professional. Those are targeted for the small operators, 1 to 5 cars, because you have a limited number of, you can add documents or fleet or locations. Really one location, but you have let's say 5 to 50 fleets, more of a targeted to premium. You can have like 10 fleets on 3 locations. I don't know, it's in my not front of me, like to see what are the things. And then we have enterprise plan, which is very exciting. So Thor, you want to touch base with the enterprise plan? What the benefits?
Yeah, lots of benefits in enterprise plan. It's essentially our white glove service facilitation, where we take care of marketing for you, we take care of social media for you, we get you access to 1,000 of our operators and that you can email directly to in order to connect with. You get priority features and everything. It's the highest tier plan that we offer and really provides you with a massive head start. It gets you a private SEO, AEO, GEO consultation session, gets you a private setup for your profile on GNET Connect, and really allows you on an ongoing basis to market to some top providers. So that's the enterprise.
It's great value if you consider what people pay for websites, for SEO, for website management. But if you add all of that up, being a paid Connect member, you really get good value for your money. So I just needed to put that out there. And before we finish, because we've gone a little over 10 o'clock, I think Paula mentioned briefly that a lot of their clientele is old school and that they send reservations via email. Paula, I'm not sure if you know, but we have this brilliant feature that I'm going to have Reza Shahbazi talk about, which I think you would really enjoy.
Okay.
You're making me excited. So we have something
I
called-
am.
yes.
And I didn't know,
Yeah.
if I knew it was that easy, I'd do it all the time. Okay.
It's
Yes.
super easy.
I
Yeah.
am crazy.
we have a something called a smart agent. This is AI agent.
Okay.
So when you receive a booking request, even or quote request, all you need to do is forward that email to our smart agent. That smart agent turns that email to a reservation. So really eliminates all going to your booking system, punching all this data. So really forward it to a smart agent, and you have opportunity to preview. Everything looks good. Press a button, import. Like in a second, it drops on a reservation system.
Okay.
What do you think,
Paul?
Paula?
Yay.
Yay.
And
Yay.
dropping into the reservation, I'm sorry, Reza. Dropping into the reservation system, does that mean any reservation that's connected through GNET, or is it limited?
Yes. No, it is anything. Fast Track, Limo Anywhere, Santa Cruz, whatever. So because using
Oh,
farm
perfect.
into that, so it drops it.
Oh,
I mean,
that's
there is like we have one of the test cases. They receive 600 emails like this on every week, and they have lots of assistant to go to type all the like. Then
And
they
this is
now
on the premium plans?
so Thor. I'm gonna defer to Thor. Thor is managing.
Yeah, I don't have the outline in front
Yeah.
of me. I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting this. But Thor, do you
Yeah.
remember offhand?
Sorry.
No worries, Michael. Yeah, I think we can set that up on the premium plan. Yeah. And I'm happy to talk and show you like an example on that as well on our call.
So that means
Okay,
we
so-
could actually
Okay,
put our
awesome.
call center into
So,
this mix as well then.
Let me ask
Sorry.
you one question.
Reza, I'm sorry, Paula had a question before you. Go ahead, Paula, say
So,
that again.
so we use a call center as well, so they could actually work through that as opposed to trying to deal with, if they go through the email box and all that stuff. It seems like that would simplify the action steps for getting that reservation.
So along with
You know,
AI, since you guys are kind of going into the AI industry, right? Now, I use on my Ring Central, they communicate the full call in text after the call is completed. And then also I have a call center after hours that is AI generated. And I don't know, would GNET connect with my AI to, I don't know how that's going to work, but is it possible where if somebody requests a reservation through my AI assistant, that it will generate a reservation? Is that possible?
Basically, you can generate the transcript and then the call, forward it to that agent, and agent makes a reservation, drops on a reservation system.
So would that have to be an API, or would I physically have to cut and paste and put it in GNET?
You can do it API, so it's API driven.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, I
Um,
can't wait to talk to you, Thor.
sure.
we do have a partner, software partner, Monobot, that
Yeah,
they
I talked to him
actually,
in Vegas.
right,
He lives
they
out here
do
in,
it over the phone, right?
okay. Yeah, he lives out here in Austin. Awesome.
Oh, perfect.
Perfect.
There you go.
All righty.
I have one question for maybe Paula or Michael. We're working on enhancing this smart agent to be able to ingest or understand the manifest, because sometimes they send attachments, say, hey, here is the Excel file of 200 rights. So we like to get some sample to see is that agent be able to ingest or digest, I don't know what you call it.
You want
all
500
the-
reservations with all the details? I'll forward it to you. You can have
Yeah.
fun with that one.
Yeah, let's send me, like, I want to see some samples to see, hey, because
Like
we
a
want to
PDF?
enhance. Yeah, PDF or Excel or CSV file that I wanted to.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
All right,
Be
so
happy.
Paula and Michael, we're going to make sure to get follow-up calls with both of you for the smart agent. I think either Reza or Thor will reach out to you. All right, well, if there's no more questions, we've kind of gone over, but I just wanted to thank each and every one of you for being here. And I wanted to thank Thor once again for a wonderful presentation. Thank you. With the holidays coming up, we're going to try and fit in one more session, workshop session at least. So do keep checking our GNET users private group on Facebook. Look out for your emails where we'll inform you of it. Subscribe to our YouTube so you can get a review of this session. It's been recorded and we'll post it there. And we usually do a little blog post as well, which will show up on our LinkedIn or on our Facebook, etc. So thank you everybody for joining us. We really appreciate your time, and
Happy Thanksgiving.
happy
everybody.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.